my friends, and welcome to another review where on this episode we are talking about the things that go bump in the night and hide under your bed and maybe give some people nightmares. Welcome to another episode of the Popcorn Confessional, and this is Dave from Nerdbox, and I'm accompanied by my wife Jen, also from Nerdbox. And on this episode, we are talking about the Boogeyman. So fire up that Jiffy Pop and meet us in the booth.
This is Brian O'Holler, and you're watching the Popcorn Confessional on the Nerdbox. Sounds like a porn site.
High school student Sadie Harper and her younger sister Sawyer are still reeling from the recent death of their mother. They're not getting much support from their father, Will, a therapist who's dealing with his own intense pain. When a desperate patient unexpectedly shows up at their house seeking help, he leaves behind a terrifying supernatural entity that preys on families and feeds on the suffering of its victims.
The Boogeyman is the latest Stephen King adaptation that is to the big screen, and I say it starts off with a bang in the Billings home.
Yeah, we can't say anything because it's pretty horrific and it'll just give shit away.
This, unfortunately, is one of the high points of the film. When we start off, it's like, oh my god, we're going to be in for a hell of a ride. And then, unfortunately, it just kind of starts to unwind afterwards throughout the rest of the film, relying a lot on jump scares. And it's the jump scares with the loud music that accompanies it.
Mm-hmm. So I feel like for a horror movie, there was too much story.
We're following Sadie and Sawyer after the tragic death of their mother, which we don't find out until later in the film, but we don't really need those type of details. I thought the actress that was playing the older sister in this, she did a very good job. So there is a lot of story in it. I liked the emotion that she portrayed in the film and how she was coping with it. I was more interested in that storyline than I was the entire horror element of the movie.
Yeah, so it felt like it was two different movies to me, though, in that aspect, because the whole story behind their emotions and why and what they're going through was a really good story, but it should have just been its own story then, because I feel like it kind of took over the movie.
Yeah, and this isn't one of those type of horror films where you have a good horror story going and then you have a good character story going and then they just mesh together really well. And maybe it's because we've kind of seen a lot of films like this already. You know, there's been Lights Out, there's been the movie Come Play, there was that movie Separation that came out. So these movies have been done before, so now you're introducing another character that hides in the shadows.
There were jump scares, but that's not enough. That's not enough to hold a horror movie. And after the first couple of jump scares, it just became old, I feel like, because I think I kind of jumped in my seat one time. I didn't scream like the teenage boys at the end of our row.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you mentioned that, right? So for teenagers and people that are easy to scare, yes, this is definitely going to scare you. The teenage boys, they got scared, they laughed because they were embarrassed, and it happened throughout the entire film.
Yeah, it did. I don't know. I guess maybe I'm too hard to these movies now because I watched so many of them, because I just kind of sat there like, oh, okay.
Well, other than Sadie and Sawyer, who I enjoyed their characters, we had Mr. Billings played by
David Dastmalchian. Probably not saying it right, but that's the best you're gonna get.
I thought his character, his introduction in the film, he was the best character in the entire movie. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we should have focused more around his story than the sisters' stories.
Yeah, and we focused a lot on the father, who was super annoying. Like, I understand he was dealing with his own pain of losing his wife, but he was not there for his kids at all.
It's not something we haven't seen over and over again in certain horror movies, where there's a loss and then there's the father that's like a little bit tuned out, and then you have the kids that are battling the entity or whatever monster that comes along. Mm-hmm. Felt a little bit like Stephen King's It in this movie with the one girl. But it is what it is. So you have a decent story in here. You have some decent scares, depending on how much of a scaredy cat you are. Maybe a lot of scares. But it doesn't bring anything new into the horror subgenre for this type of film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what it's missing, is something new. It's kind of like the same The same story being retold with different characters and a different monster.
Yeah, and the creature, you don't really get to see the creature that much in the
creature,
film.
I thought was kind of cool looking. They could have done more with it, though.
I think so. Now, as you would expect, there's always a plot to defeat the monster. That kind of plays out in this, and things may go right or may go wrong. I thought how they stumbled upon some of the solutions in this was a little bit like, I don't know. They should have figured it out sooner. Like, a lot of the stuff, the movie takes place all in the dark, and like I was with you in the movie, I was like, turn on the damn light! Like, every room is dark. You're sitting in the dark. You're playing video games in the dark. You're just asking for the monster to come and get you. Because the lights aren't broken in every single room, but yet you're in the dark in every single room.
No, but every time they do try the light switch, right, the lights are broken. These people really need to probably check out their electric.
They're electric. Try using your cell phone flashlight. That was never used. Like, duh. When was this movie supposed to take place?
Sadie used her cell phone.
Yeah, probably briefly because I barely noticed it.
You also didn't notice a lot of things. And you're like, oh, they didn't try the light switch. Yeah, they totally did when they walked in.
I remember them trying the light switch in the beginning of the movie, but not towards the end.
They tried the light switches several times. And that's why I said, like, clearly they have an electric issue. Like, they probably should look at that.
Yeah, I just... If I'm going to watch a movie like this, I'm going to go to Lights Out first, and then I'm going to go to that movie Come Play second. Because Come Play brings a new element, because it's an autistic child that's in this. So what do you rate this one?
Overall, I guess my rating would be a 1 and done, though I probably would like to just revisit it because I missed a lot with those kids nonstop talking on their phones. All you saw was they didn't even try to like lower their screen, like dim their screen. It was terrible.
Yeah, I gotta ask everybody, why you go to the theaters to talk? Stay home. Why are you going to pay that money not to pay attention and annoy everybody else?
Yeah, because that's all you're doing is just annoying everybody else.
I just don't get it.
I don't either.
My rating for this one is going to be I would watch again. I was thinking about it last night. It's like, yeah, maybe I would add it to the collection. I buy it. And then now that I've had a day to think about it, no, I wouldn't. I haven't bought Come Play yet, so I buy that. And if this was on, I may leave it on. So that's where I'm at. I would watch it again if it was on.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm kind of like in the middle of the two just because I don't think I would have an official rating until I do watch it again where I can actually concentrate on it.
Fair. Anyway, let us know if you're going to see this weekend or waiting for it to come to streaming. I would suggest waiting for it to come to streaming. Don't waste your money on it.
Unless you have a pass.
And buying the popcorn. Wait for another horror movie to come out. Mad Heidi comes out this month, and then Terrifier comes back to the theaters. Maybe save your money to one of those.
And then we have Insidious as well.
Yes.
So
got 3 good horror movies coming out. Well, maybe 3. I haven't seen Mad Heidi yet. So we'll see. Anyway, don't forget that there's a couple things that you need to do, and that is...
like, comment, subscribe, and share.
Yes, please share. Every share, like, and comment helps us independent YouTubers out a hell of a lot. And we'd like to thank you for watching our reviews and our other content. You'll start seeing some more of our regular content come out now because we almost essentially have Pop 5s done up until September. So I have some free time now. So we'll have a room tour coming up soon as well.
Yes, so stay tuned for that.
Yes. Anyway, until the next...